it took me forever to get up the guts to go for that. But each time I stuck my little toe in the water and did something that was out of my comfort zone, it kind of propelled me forward and it gave me the confidence to do it maybe a little quicker.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Highlight Her. Today, Jan joins us. She is the artist behind the exquisite art of Jan Dale Fine Art. I'm excited to learn more about her journey. She's a good friend of mine, but I don't know a lot about her business journey. And I also am so proud of what she's doing on social media. Let's get chatting. Hi, Jan.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm just really honored and excited to be here. I just kind of have followed your journey, and I just think this is just so cool what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Before we dive into your business journey, I do have a question. Have you had a moment in your business where you thought, this is why I do this?
Oh my goodness. I many moments like that. Many. It happens every time somebody sends me a message in response to my newsletter or leaves a comment on social media, and they just say things like, "Oh, that reminds me of my grandma," or anything where it sparks a memory. And this happens frequently.
I believe it. Your art is the kind that evokes emotion and memory, and I can absolutely see you getting lots of those. I'm really tickled to hear that you get a lot of those kinds of responses. Can you take us back to the beginning when you thought you wanted to turn your art into something more than just a hobby?
I think from the time I was pretty young, I always thought about being a great artist and, being one of those people that just makes their living that way. And school kind of beat that out of me.
Aw.
Yeah, artist was not at the time was not really an approved career choice. It wasn't one that your parents or your counselors would send you into. So I kind of let that go. I did a lot of odd jobs. I waited tables, cleaned toilets, not at the same time, like, cleaned offices, things like that. And eventually I went back to school, got my degree and taught elementary school literacy. In 2007, I'm sorry, there was kind of a trend out there called a painting a day. Dwayne Kaiser, artist Dwayne Kaiser would had this, and he was selling his art on eBay. He was auctioning his art on eBay, and it's like these little bitty 5-inch paintings were people were auctioning them for like $600-800 for these things. And I knew I wasn't going to go there, but I tried a little bit. I sold a couple of those. It's no big deal, but I didn't think of it as a real career, that's all I would do until I was teaching. And I got into teaching, and I realized very soon that I did not really have, I don't have the skill set. I just didn't have that thing that, I don't want to use the word magic, but that thing that I saw in other teachers where they just took to it and it looked effortless, and it was never going to be that way for me. I knew that. It was so stressful. It just no calm. And in the meantime, I started just making a little bit of money on the side painting murals. I kind of turned that into a very significant side job, on the weekends, on school breaks, things like that. And it started building, and it built to the point where in I forgot what year, 17 maybe, the school district made some big changes. And at the same time, I got offered this really big mural commission that was going to pay me about $30,000, 2 months of work. And that was what I would have made teaching in a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they called me back in the fall, they let everybody go and then called them back, the literacy people. And when they did that and they called me back and said, okay, yeah, you're one of the people we want to have back. And I said, thanks anyway.
Right.
I'm just going to cut the cord and I'm going to go for it. And I did really, really well with the murals, but I knew that one day I was not going to be able to climb those ladders anymore. My feet
Mm.
started to really give me trouble. My whole body hurt all the time. And I knew that eventually I was going to have to lay that aside. And so I started working, I got the bug. I knew I wanted to make this a career. Okay.
Mm. Hmm.
So, and I knew I was not looking back. That's it.
I'm
So
so proud of you.
I'm thankful. I'm grateful that God just put things in, helped me put things in place to make that happen. But gradually, I started building an audience for my oil paintings. It started to build and build. Now I have gallery representation with River's Edge Gallery, and just one opportunity in that journey led to another, gave me the courage to take the next step and the next step and the next step to the point where this is what I do.
Do you do murals anymore?
Very few. I do small ones that I can reach from the floor. So
Okay.
like a child's room, I'm still doing child's room murals. I still do things where it's painted on a surface and then transported, and then people can put that on their wall. I'm not doing those things where I get up on a scaffold like I did for Ford's Garage Restaurant.
Right.
So that was fun. That was a fun project. I enjoyed that.
So now your focus is your oil paintings. And I'm thinking that people around the world can enjoy your oil paintings, right?
They can, but with all the ins and outs of selling internationally, I have not opened it up to
Okay.
international. Eventually I will, but for right now it's just only in the US.
Okay. And would that be through your website?
Through my website, mostly my audience is coming from my newsletter. Every Saturday, like really early in the morning. Sometimes I write it ahead, but a lot of times I'm up at 2 or 3 in the morning writing that newsletter, and I do it. I don't spam people. I don't like it. If I don't want somebody doing something to me, I'm not going to do it to them.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to like feel, I know the advice is you need to email people this many times and this frequency and this form. And I can't go there. So I send it out every Saturday morning. That's it. Unless I have something really big that didn't get in the previous week's thing, I don't send an extra email. And I just respond to people as they respond to what I write.
How can people join your newsletter?
Go to jandalefineart.com, and on the menu, click on Studio News, and the link is right
Studio
there.
News?
Studio News. Yeah.
Okay. So, listeners, you need to do that because I get her newsletter and it's a lot of fun, actually. And she really does reply. If it's like sometimes I make a little comment on your picture. I think
Yeah.
usually I make comments. I don't think I ask questions very often, but you do respond. And I have to tell you, if you're getting multiple people responding to your email newsletter, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Actually, just a few years ago, Jason Horsch, who owns Xanadu Gallery in Scottsdale, Arizona,
Mhm.
he's quite well known in the art world, and gives a lot of advice. He's got a blog called Red Dot Blog. So for other artists out there, I would go look at Red Dot Blog. That thing is a treasure trove. And he at one point offered to do like are you ready for gallery representation review of your work, and he did, and there's a video, and it's linked on in the videos on my website right up
Okay.
at, yeah. So he did a review, and when we were talking about the when I said it's the newsletter is everything, I know people get, they have a knee-jerk reaction when you say the word newsletter, like, oh, another newsletter. But the truth is, it isn't just a newsletter, it's a connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is the story, the backstory behind the work, the process that I go through. And it's not, I try to not make it, it's not mechanical. It's just, it's just like me talking to you. It's like you talking to me. It's a back and forth thing. Anyway, I told him we were talking about the open rates, and that's something that tells you, your analytics. It tells you how many people opened it,
Hmm.
actually opened and read your newsletter. And what they say is that if you're getting 25%, that's kind of the bottom line. That's like average. 25 to 30% of the people that take your newsletter, they open it. Okay.
Mhm.
If you have, 30, 40%, that's really good. Mine is consistently 60%.
Oh.
60% open rate. Okay. Now I don't always have people, respond, but I would say almost every week, somebody responds, somebody replies to that email. And usually it's a few somebodies.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of, it's like a piece of gold for me. It's just,
I believe it.
it's a wonderful way to connect with people. And so that's how I make most of my sales is through my newsletter. I just love it.
It's definitely emotional connection in your newsletter. You're telling a story for sure. That
That's
I'm just so excited about that open rate for you.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty amazing. And you know what? When I started the print club, the art and story print club,
Mhm.
uh, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's just every week, every month, I send out a physical in your mailbox at home when you go to the mailbox and get that stack of bills and junk in it.
Mhm.
You get this wonderful, beautiful color envelope, and inside is a fine art print of my own work and a story that I've written because I'm also a writer, and I write these stories about my childhood in a big family in a farming community, and and I share those, and most of them are humorous. Some of them are very tender. Most of them are they touch your funny bone. So so you get this art print and the story, thus art and story, and you get, like a bookmark or some stickers. Coming up soon is a recipe for my
Ooh.
raspberry almond shortbread.
Ooh.
Anyway, the with the art and story, most of my subscribers to that are people who are on my newsletter.
Very
So,
cool.
yeah. So it's a know you like you trust you thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you've evolved from murals to oil paintings and now expanded, not necessarily evolved because you're still doing your oil paintings, but
Yeah.
expanded into the art and story. Was there anything in those steps that was a big learning curve for you?
Yes, there was. I've always been so nervous about selling my work. I love making the work. I love the process. I can get lost in it. I can be in the studio for hours and not even know what time it is. It's a delightful, joyful thing. Sometimes frustrating, but mostly it just complete pure joy. I love doing it. Okay. But when it comes to putting it out there and saying, "Will you buy my painting?"
Mhm.
You know, that part was a big hurdle, and, back I think it was, 22, 21 or 22, I paid to take this course, or the Professional Artist Institute, and I did it because I saw that Jason Horsch and a couple of other people that I really respect in the art world and knew personally, they were part of the faculty on that, so I
Mhm.
trusted it, and I
Mhm.
took it. And it was a chunk of change, but I immediately, taking their advice, very month I started it actually, I sold a $2,500 painting.
Oh,
And
exciting.
that paid for the course and then some. And it's been paying for
Fabulous.
itself ever since. But the big piece of advice that they gave was to get over that cringe reaction of, I don't like to sell. They said, you think of it this way, these people that are following you, they love what you have.
Mm.
And you're the only one that can make what you're making. Other people can paint and they paint their beautiful stuff, but you're the only one that can paint your stuff. They like what you paint. They want it in their lives, whether it's they just want to see it on a screen. And that's true. That's most people. They just want to see it on a screen. But some of them wanna see it on their wall. Some of them wanna print. Some of them wanna read about what goes into that. Those people want it. what you're doing is you're not selling, you are serving.
Mm.
And you have to think of it that way. You're serving those people by selling them that. And just a simple, instead of going through the nervous tick thing, just say, here it is, it's available. And you do this, I do this once a month. I put it on my website and I say, this is here. This is how much it is. This is what it means to me. Are you interested? Do you want it? And there are a few people, I call them my fabulous five. They're people that have already bought a lot of artwork from me. And so I email them. I do send out an extra email, but it's just a one-on-one personal one to those five people first before it goes out to my regular newsletter. So they kind of have first shot at it.
Nice. That
Yeah.
rewards them for their loyalty.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really smart.
Yeah. And once I made that mindset shift from I'm not selling, I'm serving, then it's so much easier to say, I know you love this. Would you like it? You want to make it yours. And it's so much easier to say that now than it was when I just, oh, I don't want to be salesy.
That's really good advice.
I think
Um,
that would go for anybody, anybody, whatever their business is, if they're making something themselves, whether it's
yeah.
cookies or art or whatever.
Is there something that you do differently now that you wish you'd known earlier?
That was one of them.
Oh.
I wish I would jump at opportunities quicker. I wish I
Oh.
had done that. But, once I started getting a taste of, people responding positively to me, opportunities, like I was very nervous when I hit the button to submit my application to have my work reviewed by Jason Horsch. This famous art person,
Mhm.
and to have him do that. And I was very nervous. If you watch the interview, you'll see, yeah, I was just so nervous. And it was a panel of other artists too were there
Wow.
because he invited other artists. And I was just so timid about applying for that. It took me forever to apply. Same thing with gallery representation. It took me forever to get years to get up the guts to go for that. But each time I stuck my little toe in the water and did something that was out of my comfort zone, it kind of propelled me forward and it gave me the confidence to do it maybe a little quicker. And I
Mhm.
wish I had had more the ability to just take that opportunity when it presented itself right away with confidence instead of hesitating for years.
Oh, but now you have that confidence
Yes.
and we can share that tip with others so they might jump a little sooner.
They say
Um,
that whenever you step out of your comfort zone, you expand it.
ooh, I like that.
Yeah, me
That's a
too.
good one. Is there something right now that you're especially excited about?
I am excited about that print club. About the art and story club. That is exciting me. When I first put that out, I had been sharing my little childhood stories through my email newsletter. Okay, through the studio news, I had been sharing mostly snippets of it, not or shortened versions for a while. Every now and then I'd pull out a story. Sometimes when I was exhausted and could I'd say, I think it's time for a story. So I just
Mhm.
pull one of those out. And, I was actually writing a book and I was running into all these snags trying to think how to self-publish that book. And it is everything I ran into. It was just, there was all kinds of tech problem. I'm not a techie. Okay. So, all kinds of issues that I ran into. And I finally decided when I first saw this whole idea of a snail mail club like this, um, I kind of put it out to my email newsletter. And the minute I put that out and said, you know what, I'm going to write the book. They were all excited about the book. I had a whole bunch of people that said, yeah, I want the book. When it comes out, you got to tell me. And I said, okay, I'm doing the book, but I'm doing it this way instead. And as soon as I did that, by the end of the day, I had about 12 people already signed up for the print club. And so in the next month, it doubled. So I'm hoping that it'll just keep doubling. That would be great.
That's fantastic. Listeners, you really want to go check it out. The price of the art and story, like she's underselling herself. So it is definitely worth and trying it for a month or two and seeing if you like it because it's sweet beauty coming into your inbox. Like she said, you're going to get a colorful envelope and you get beauty inside and you get just a break from the ick of the world and a bright spot. Don't you have a separate landing page for your art and story?
I do. I do. And it is on my Instagram page, Jandale Fine Art.
So, listeners, if you want to look up Jan's art and story, you're going to go to jandaleart.storyclub.carrd.co. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm stopping by with a special invitation. Can you believe that season 1 is almost complete? I'm so excited and I'm truly grateful for your support. I want to do a special Q&A episode at the end of season 1. But in order to do that, I need questions to answer. Can you let me know what questions you have? Use the fan mail button at the top of the show notes to send me your questions. I can't wait to create this special episode for you. All right, Jan, we're into our lightning round. Coffee, tea, or hot chocolate?
Ooh, I didn't know about the lightning round. How'd I miss that? Oh gosh, all three. I love all three.
Okay, early bird or night owl?
Early bird, very early bird, usually 4 or 5.
One tool or app you couldn't run your business without?
My smartphone.
All right. And a favorite way to unwind after a busy day in the studio?
Little House on the Prairie on
All right.
on Netflix or on Prime Video.
Okay. Do you have a businesswoman that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, actually, Pat Slack is the owner of River's Edge Gallery, and I just spoke with her the other day, and I asked her permission to share this. Besides being a gallery owner, she's a interior designer. So she's
Fantastic.
yeah, she's amazing. And anyway, she's just a very calm person to talk to. She's just a wonderful lady. But she owns River's Edge Gallery, and then she also does the interior design.
Very cool. Well, listeners, it's time to get out your notebook. Jan, if someone wanted to start something similar, an art-based endeavor, what is one piece of advice you'd give them?
I would say do your research. Make sure that there's an interest for your work. If you do not have a website, so I would suggest that you start a newsletter, an email newsletter. You just need to start with a few friends. You want to share something of value that you're going to share with your audience, something that you know they already love. So it can be, if it's art-based, tell a little bit about the process that you use, show pictures and all that. Fine Art Studio Online is one of the best investments for a website. It's got everything. It's got pretty much everything you need. It has the newsletter capability built right into it. It's just a good thing to have.
Well, listeners, before we sign off, ask yourself, what's my next step? And if you ever feel like sharing, reach out with a comment or an email. If you were inspired by Jan and would like to follow her and encourage her on her Art and Story Club, you can find her on Instagram as Jan Dale Fine Art, on Facebook as Dale House Murals, and her website, jandalefineart.com. You can also see her work in person at River's Edge Gallery in Wyandotte, Michigan. I'm going to put all of this in the show notes for you. Jan, thank you so much for chatting with us today. Audience, thanks for listening to the Highlight Her podcast. If this episode encouraged or inspired you, be sure to follow so you don't miss the next guest. After all, you never know if her story will inspire your next step.